Your medical profession has helped a number of people survive crashes and races and all that good stuff. I know that there's a number of times. Rusty Wallace at Bristol, I remember. That was wild.
Yeah, I tell people that it was my hands, but it was God's will, because we got lucky that day. Rusty and I have been friends for a long time, and still are great friends. Little did I know that I would be standing beside Rusty, 30 years later, calling races on television. He'd be an analyst with me, but he we got lucky. There was a couple of EMTs and paramedics, and back then there weren't medical doctors inside the racetrack. And I was, I'm an ER doctor all week long, and I'm standing there. And when this accident happened, and we were able to get over to the car and get an airway, and they were able to get the top of the car cut off, so I could get to Rusty and maintain the airway so he could breathe. And we got him out, got him suctioned out. And turns out it wasn't the fact that he stopped breathing wasn't a head injury. It was the fact that the knucklehead, being Rusty, had inhaled a sandwich right before climbing in a car for practice. And Richard Petty had just walked by and saw him eating that sandwich and said, "Boy, you need to know better than that. You don't ever go eat a sandwich or something right before you're going to go out to practice." In Bristol on the high bank. And so sure enough, Rusty cuts a tire. The car somersaults in the air like a punt, spiraling like a punt going up, and then comes down and then barrel rolls side over side. And the car, and the top is crushed down, his head's crushed down, and part of that sandwich blocked his airway. And
all for a bologna sandwich, huh?
All for, yeah. So we were able to get him suction and get him clear, but we were very blessed. And the funniest part about a terrible situation, which could have been tragic, was that after Rusty had left and gone to the hospital, and I had to stay because we were getting ready to do what was then called the Busch Series race that night. Earnhardt was in the Busch Series race, and he walked up to me and he said, right before the race, he's on pit road. He says, "Did you hear Rusty's going to be okay?" I said, "Yeah, Rusty." They called me from the hospital and told me that he said, "Thank you so much, Doc, blah, 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 and he's going to be okay. He'll be out back here tomorrow." And Earnhardt looked at me, and he looked right at me, walked right up to me on pit road, right in my face, and he took his big finger and he puts it right in my ESPN fire suit and said, "Do you realize you probably saved Rusty Wallace's life today?" And I said, "Well, I guess." And he looked at me and said, "Why would you do that? Why would anybody do that?" And of course, they were friends, but they were also battling for a championship.
Sure.
Right? Yeah. That's typical Dale Earnhardt humor, dark humor.
Oh, I hear he was wonderful. No, you called his last race, didn't you?
I did. His last win.
His last win. Yeah.
Talladega. Yeah, Talladega. I did.
You've been listening to the Classic Auto Mall Show with your host, Stuart Howden.